Joining us now to review some of the headlines of today's newspapers from around the world is Arise News analyst Emmanuel Efene, the great Malabite, who was not here yesterday. It is good to see you this morning.
Good morning, Ruben.
Good morning.
Good morning, Ayo.
Good morning,
Good morning,
Stephen.
Rufai.
Good to
I'm
see you
here.
today.
I'm here for real. Now, we start the review with this day. Nigeria's newspaper of record. I start with the story above the masthead, the window story. APC Schweibu traumatized by Atiku's serial electoral failure. Ex-VP's aide dares federal government to release details of petrol landing cost. Expectedly, the All Progressive Congress has alleged that the media aide to former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, the candidate of the PDP in the last presidential election, is traumatized. Of course, their own repost to the detailed position of Frank Schweibu speaking as an opposition party spokesperson. Well, the points he raised, I think they are well documented, and he has even gone ahead at another engagement to dare the federal government to publish the landing cost of petrol and whether indeed subsidy has not returned. But again, I will just encourage the opposition, because these days we have also been asking, where are the opposition parties? After the elections, the opposition must do the work of putting the government in power on their toes to do what is right for the benefit of Nigerians who trooped out to vote for the next president, for the president on election day. So the opposition doing its job, and of course you expect repost from the government in power or the ruling party, as the case may be. Now, the lead story: Senate to screen nominees for CBN governor deputies today. Ministerial nominees October 3. Well, Yemi Cardoso, the CBN governor designate, will have his time. He has resumed duties anyway, but he will have his time with the Senate today for the confirmation of his nomination by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And the Guardian newspaper also reporting this story: Cardoso faces Senate under FX pressure, loss of confidence. Cardoso has to deal with spiking inflation, volatile exchange rate, $6.88 billion backlog, contentious 22.7 trillion ways and means advances, ambitious external reserve, falling bank adequacy ratio, as well as high interest rate. A lot on the plate of the new central bank governor, who expectedly should be confirmed today by the Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Now, the Punch newspaper: Tinubu reviews document as CBN investigators submit interim report. Nigeria will know what really went wrong and what brought us down. Secretary to the government of the Federation, George Akume, is the one making that statement. CBN special investigator continues audit. Federal government links nation's woes to bad governance. Of course, the special investigator appointed by the president, Mr. Bazi, to investigate and audit the Central Bank of Nigeria. He has his interim report, which is already on the table of the President of the Federal Republic, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, but the investigation continues. We need to hear pronouncement on what went wrong, and there couldn't have been a better way for the new CBN governor to take off. If this report is out there, look at the pitfalls and all the wrong steps taken in the past, as this governor is saying, that the problems we have now can be traced to bad governance of the past. Yes, bad governance of the last 8 years of an APC government, we have to reemphasize. Now, the new Telegraph newspaper Customs intercept 1.64 billion naira explosive device materials. Others seizes armored bullion van without end-user certificate. Arrest 9 smugglers. Poverty, insecurity, bad leadership, bane of Nigeria's development. ACF chair. Now, below the photograph, federal government secretly negotiating with terrorists. Zamfara governor alleges. Varsity confirms rescue of 13 abducted students. 3 others. Senate calls for immediate rescue of victims. Well, the federal government negotiating with bandits, with the terrorists, but the Zamfara state government complaining that the governor is not being carried along. So he doesn't know what is happening. Now, the Daily Sun newspaper, Tinubu moves to stop Chicago University, warns institution not to release details on gender, transcript, and other academic records, but only certificates. Yes, the legalese of the matter, Ruben, you dealt with that. Is this a fishing expedition? But for the rest of us, Nigerians, this matter is becoming curiouser and curiouser. Because, Ruben, if somebody decides to go to the University of Calabar today and ask the VC, the registrar, to present your certificate and all other documents you submitted, Ruben, I'm sure you will gladly say, go ahead. But, well, this is not the case. But for Nigerians, our president is on the spot, clearly, on this matter. If you put yourself out there to be the president of Nigeria, you are putting yourself in a glass house. We want to see everything. Hence, it is said those who live in glass houses like public officers, because you are there in the public eye, they should not walk naked. So, whatever you have, but it's a matter in court. The court will decide whether to release or not to release. And we'll be here to report. But for the journalists, it is always very interesting when there are documents being prevented from coming to the public knowledge. That is what the journalist is interested in. When some people try to suppress documents, push to get it. But it's not a journalistic matter. These are politicians who are in court, but we are here to report. Now, the Vanguard newspaper, insecurity, Zamfara governor alleges federal government in secret talks with bandits. Now, the other story above the masthead, yes, just above the masthead. Osho the Papa gridlock, someone lose directives, records partial compliance. I will take Vanguard verdicts because they live in that axis. They operate in that axis. They suffer from the problem of this gridlock. Well, if there's any magic wand, the governor has waded in this matter, but we'll wait and watch because it has happened before. The vice president came, flew over Apapa, and there was clearance of the gridlock. But after some days, they will return. 58 extortion points. I hope the governor has cleared all that so that this gridlock will be a thing of the past. And we just hope that will be the case. One foreign newspapers quickly. We look at the Washington Post. House stock as deadline years. No deal in sight to avert shutdown. Familiar scenario between the Republican and the president, when depending on who is on what side, trying to get a deal to avert another government shutdown, the budget. Ruben, Rufai, and Ayo.
We've run out of time, but if there's that government shutdown by Sunday, there are implications. Credit rating of the United States may be affected. Data from the relevant government agencies will be affected, and consequently, planning. And, even the Federal Reserve may not have concrete data. But what the analysts tell us is that the effect may be short-lived. But this is politics.
But they always find a way to do some last-minute deal.
The House Republicans are already on recess. Anyway, thank you very much, Emmanuel Efeni.